Hello everyone, this is Pursue Wealth. My name is Edgar, and in this video we're going to go over the 50-20-30 budget rule. We're going to describe what it is, and then I'm going to share a personal experience that I've had with it, and then we're going to put it into practice here in the Los Angeles area. Okay, so now we're here with the 50-30-20 budget rule, and it's really simple, really intuitive to get what it is. So basically, after you subtract your taxes, things like that from your paycheck, then whatever you're left with, you attribute it to these percentage, to these categories, right? So 50% of it will go to your needs, 30% of it will go to your wants, and 20% of it is going to go to your savings, right? And then what would you constitute as needs? I mean, obviously that kind of depends on you, but the set categories that are usually part of everyone's expenses are definitely housing. So whether you have a mortgage, whether you rent, it's going to go under that category. That definitely needs for sure. Any utilities that you have to pay for this house or for something else, you'll need to include that. Your transportation could be a big one depending on where you live. So this also includes any maintenance issues, anything that allows you to go to your place of work or to school or to wherever you commute to and back, of course. And then any health expenses that you have, whether it be, for example, insurance, medical, dental, things like that, and expenses that come up as well. And then, of course, your groceries, you need to eat, need to sustain yourself. So that's definitely a big one here that you can probably play around with, but it is definitely part of the needs. And then this last one would just be any type of insurance that you have to protect yourself from liability. So this one is definitely important as well. And when we go to the want section, it's really easy to literally anything you want it to be. Your expenses, you want to go out to watch the movies, you want to go to a museum, you want to go shopping, whatever it is. This is a fun money fund. Definitely the best part about this, you have an allocated amount of money that goes to enjoying yourself and rewarding yourself for whatever you feel like. And then definitely savings, probably the most important part of this, and I think that's why it's made this way, right? It's for you to get you to start saving one way or another. Definitely this part right here is referring to your retirement accounts. So the sooner you start, the better, of course. And I would say a decent split of 10-10, right? You save 10% of your savings, right, towards a retirement, and then another 10% towards a financial goal that you have. That could be a car, that could be an emergency savings fund, or if you're at that stage in your life, you can go further, and this could be, for example, for a down payment on a home. So getting some assets that will eventually make you more money in the future. Okay, so now that we've covered my experience with it, let's go over this, right? So we have this ideal scenario in which everything's good, you work out perfectly with the 50-30 budget rule, right? So we're going to start here, and this section I highlighted here is basically going to be our needs, right? So our 50% here. So we're going to start with your housing expenses. People like to keep this rent, mortgage, plus utilities section to about 30% overall of your income. So that's what we have here, $1,000 there, $220 for utilities. And then people like, again, 10% for transportation. So here's a $380 from our total of $3,800 that I'm actually using as what I made from the previous video. So that's where this figure comes from. Then obviously we need groceries. Here are the $200. Any health expenses, health insurance, things like that. It's probably going to be $100, a lot more than what I have to pay for it, but I think for most people it'll be more, so closer to $100. And then here's the free section again that I've mentioned that it can get dangerous, right? We see this $1,140 that we can just spend on anything we want, right? And it can get dangerous, like I said. So retirement and savings, again, we're going 10% each, so $380. and all of this totals our 3,800. I want to go into now this realistic scenario. It's not realistic, it's more like in reality here in Los Angeles, kind of where I live. And the price for a one bedroom apartment is around $2,000, right? If you buy it yourself, which is kind of what I'm trying to show here. For example, just graduated from college, this is your first job, you want to move out, and here's what you get, right? So $2,000 for an apartment, and then $250 for your utilities, quite a bit, right? And then this transportation, I put 600 because I think if you're able to put 20% down payment on a car, you have the car payment and you have your insurance, it's going to be a lot of money, especially here in Los Angeles. So it looks big, but I assure you that it comes from somewhere, right? This grocery, again, we're going to keep it the same, 200, health 100, same. And now we see that our free money is close. It's zero, right? Because of these huge bills here for living expenses and for transportation expenses, which you have to get to work, right? Once you have a job, you have to get there somehow, and a car is the easiest way to do it here in California, because public transportation isn't always the best, right? Something we don't want to budge on at all is definitely this retirement section. So that's why we have the 380 here that has not been touched. And we actually did have to touch on the savings here from all this needs category, to where it takes away $90 from what we have here. And again, our total is going to be 3,800. And I just want to go back to these two topics or categories, that take away so much of our money: the mortgage and the transportation. And of course, depending on where you live, you're gonna think, dude, you've lost it, right? There's no way anyone's paying that amount of money, right? But as we can see here, this is a payment calculator for car payment. So like I said, a brand new car, nothing crazy, right? Like a Corolla, something like that, $22,000, right? We're going to put 20% down, so the 4,400, and then it's going to be for 48 months. 3%, your monthly payment is still $390, right? So to that, we're not even adding that much. 210 for insurance. I think when I put insurance full coverage, it was 330. So I'm being very generous here on putting it at 210. And then for the rent, like I said, average for a studio, it's 2,000, right? So this figure that I put up here, it's also generous. It's generous as well. There's many. LA is huge, right? So you can get a lower price for that. Obviously, this is average, so there's lower and there's higher, and you can get lower. But like I said, 2,000. It's still well within what you see if you're looking on apartments.com, rent.com, whatever. You're gonna see that 2,000 number come up quite a lot. Okay, and now that we've covered some of my experiences with this budget rule, and we provided a practical example of how that works out in, for example, Los Angeles, we want to know what conclusions can we draw from this, right? What does this tell us about the budget rule? And it's definitely that the 50-30-20 budget rule, it doesn't apply to everyone. It doesn't apply to every situation. It doesn't apply to every location where you may live, right? So we have to be flexible. We have to understand that we have to create our own budget that fits for us and that works for us for everything that we're trying to accomplish. And it's just tough for any cookie cutter anything, right, to work for everyone, and it's definitely not going to. So you have to find a way to, for example, be flexible, right? So for example, how it showed the high mortgage or rent payment here in Los Angeles, you're gonna have to be able to say yes to living with a roommate, or for example, living without a car and just trying to rely on public transportation. And this may mean that you live in a certain area where you might not have considered if you had all the resources, all the money that you wanted. So it's definitely a fun little budget to get started, but I think you have to really tailor it to your needs, and maybe it's not 50-30-20, maybe it's 40-20-40, et cetera, right? So definitely plan accordingly to what you need, and you'll be good to go. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, it would do me a big favor if you could drop the video a like. And in the comment section below, I would like to know if you think this budget rule could fit for you, or if perhaps you've even tried it, and whatever your experiences were with it. I'd like to know. So until next one, thank you.